So Steve, where are we going?
We're on the first stop of the Defiant affiliate tour. Well, the Defiant affiliate series as we're calling it, but it's a bit of a tour. And we're on its way to sunny Newcastle, which, even though we're pretty close now, it don't look too sunny. So what we're doing with the affiliate series is basically using our platform to promote some CrossFit gyms over the next 6 months. So we're doing 6 to start with, maybe do more next year, see how this goes. But it's kind of like a takeover, doing a workout with the guys at the gym, just telling their story. And also, like, obviously people will have heard through this that we've not been doing as many in-person events, well, any, this year, because we've gone in a slightly different direction with the business. And I didn't want to be bored at weekends and doing fuck all, because I wanted to be out doing stuff that I enjoy. And that stuff now is being in CrossFit community, because everything it's done for me is like immeasurable. So this is kind of, it sounds really cheesy, doesn't it? But like, this is my way of trying to give back, or the Defiant Co's way of giving back, because I think this community is like, it's so important. And I know people throw that word about, but like, just for me personally, how much better I've become because of CrossFit and because of the community. Now we've got an opportunity to try and give a bit back. CrossFit's got a bit of a bad rep at the moment, unfairly when you're looking at it from an affiliate level. So if people are slating CrossFit and talking shit about it all the time, the only people that are really going to suffer are the gyms. So if we can get out to these gyms and tell that story, that's what's important, because CrossFit isn't about elite athletes, it's about what it does for everyday people like me. Like, it's given me a business, it's made me healthier, it's made me fitter, and that's the stuff that's important to me.
Yeah, love that. And the big question is, are you going to take part in a workout?
I am. So I'm lucky. It's a pretty good one. It's Echo Bike dumbbell bench, burpees over dumbbells, which I did alright in that open workout that I had them in, and then back up. So Elliot's come up from Project, so he's going to meet us there. We've got Gareth from CrossFit UK, he's there, and we're going to do this workout. It's a team of 3. They're going to fucking kill me, but it's going to be good, and we're going to have a chat with some of the community and some of the members, because this gym method training, like 322 open sign-ups this year. Like, I worked out, it's about 85% of the members got signed up for open, and like, how the hell do you do that? Because having heard Jamie talk on a podcast, most of his members, like all good CrossFit gyms, their members are mostly your everyday person that just want to come and get fitter and make them better for everyday life. So how do you get 322 of them kind of people to sign up for a CrossFit competition, basically? I think it's amazing. So looking forward to meeting those people. The classes are fucking jam-packed today, and this is another thing I like about this gym. We're coming up to do this, and you were coming up, but we didn't get special treatment. We had to book onto classes, and that in itself says everything, because they're valuing their members over everything. Don't matter if we're coming to tell their story, their members are what's important. They're the ones that keep the lights on and pay the bill. So of course we have to book on just like everybody else. So yeah, we've booked on, jam-packed classes, and see if I can make myself look stupid. Should have probably cleaned this up a bit. I got all this trouble for this series and don't even wash a van, but next one. We'll get it cleaned up for the next one. Paired with these. Jamie's even doing it, the owner. Elliot, CrossFit box owner. Gareth, CrossFit UK, CrossFit box owner. I think it's going to get a bit bad for me today.
Arms carry. While the bench is happening, it's going to be in a deadline. And the dumbbell weights as well. They are 22.5.
I can do this bit.
Get the dip, I'm doing fast. Rather than just like it.
alright mate, the bench I'm weak as piss.
Yeah.
And yeah, the burpees they went fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. Loved it though, good workout. Everyone's just in random teams as well. Everyone's giving everything. It's what you want to start doing it, teamwide, everyone's together.
Yeah.
Quality. Like what they're building here is amazing. Like you'll have to look around, see the people. And this is what CrossFit's about, you know what I mean? This is why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, brilliant mate. I was saying, 600 calories apparently mate as well.
I'll do.
Easter egg time.
on.
I'm here with Hannah, who's just coached the amazing class at Method. I say amazing, look at the state of me. So how long have you been here?
I've been a member for about 8 years, but I've just been coaching for about 3 months.
Oh,
so not long.
Oh, you're very good. So what drew you to coaching?
I think it was just the reward you sort of get from like helping people, and then as I've sort of started, like the progress people make, like it's just like it's really rewarding to see that, and like, see how good they are when they get like the first post to bar, the first pull up or anything like that, and it's nice to be sort of involved in that sort of journey for them.
Helping people basically get better. Whatever, because like when you look around, there's just different people at different stages of their fitness, and being able to help each one on their specific journey.
Yeah,
which is
definitely.
great.
Yeah.
And I saw like Jamie was on with Pedro, and he's talking about how he helps the staff and the progression and the opportunities they're doing. It's really good. It looks like there's real steps laid out.
Yeah, there definitely is. Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of gyms. It's hard to do that, and the way Jamie's done it, I think it's awesome. But yeah, but anything else that you wanted to share with our budding community about? Put you on the spot, just
No,
awkward.
I don't think so. Just like if you're obviously like around the Newcastle or the North East area, then come give us a shopping.
Yeah,
get involved. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks very much. Smashed it.
Thank you.
So this is the first in the Defiant affiliate series, and having been here for a while, I'm glad we came here first, mate, because it's quite a facility. So method training. Where does the name come from actually?
I was searching for a name, and I was going through the shop one day, like getting some groceries, and you know the hand wash. You know the cleaning products, the hand wash method. You know, see that?
Maybe I don't wash my hands enough.
And I was like, it's a good name that. Like a method, this is our system, this is the way we do stuff. And I was like, it just like kind of stuck there. And I was like, yeah, we're just gonna have to do that.
So how long have you guys here been affiliated then?
So we've been here for 11 years, just under. It'll be 11 years in July.
And over that time, it's obviously grown pretty organically. Like the space has expanded, but it's always been here. It's just sort of expanded around it to become what it is today.
Yeah. So originally we started out with just what we call Bay One, which like the building we're in, it was a roofing store and some like plant hire service bays, where our neighbours who are a plant hire company, they would bring in their stuff and they would service them and store their bits. So that got called Bay One, Service Bay One, and then we moved gradually as we expanded. We took on the next space to it, and then we're just kind of gradually pushing our neighbours out of the building. We also, like up here where we are now, there was a camper van sales company, and they used to have loads of camper vans outside. I think it's hard to sell campers or anything else when at the 9:30 classes like thumping music,
slamming barbells.
But we're in such a lucky position that our landlord is a member, and I train with him every day. That was the guy behind us on the bike, Richard. Yeah. So he's my contact, and his family own the whole site.
Amazing.
So Richard is a member, and he comes every day and trains like really consistently. His dad does our over 55s class, masters class. His wife comes and does PT here, Richard's wife. His daughter and son and daughter both come. So like, once we had them on side, it was like, well, who are we going to keep? Are we going to keep the gym, or are we going to keep the camper van?
Because they've got to find somewhere else to train if they boot in. So like when you opened the box, did you have like a long-term vision of what you wanted it to be, or did you kind of just let it do its thing and was it all organic really?
No, I didn't really have a vision. I knew that I wanted it to be clean, tidy, well run.
Yeah.
Because I'd done a little bit of an affiliate tour beforehand, and the people who I'd met were super passionate. They were great coaches, they were fantastic front men, front women to have to inspire people. But I think at the time the gyms weren't as professional as they could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like 10, 11 years ago. And as I was doing the boot camp company, I was also working out at I was working out of a private leisure club up in Matfin, which is like a uber posh suburb of Newcastle out that way.
I didn't know there were posh parts in Newcastle.
Yeah, there are. They're few and far between, but they're here. And it was something where I was working in the really, really high-end private sector.
Yeah.
And I was also working for like mass market boot camp. And the stuff we were doing in the private sector could definitely transfer across to running a CrossFit gym better, like keeping it clean and tidy, making sure that the classes started on time, just like the basic stuff now. But it was such a hobby for a lot of owners back then that it was so relaxed, and I think that was good for the early adopters, that they liked a relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah.
But when you start to get into that early and late majority, people expect a bit more of a service, so we kind of hit on that quite well. We put out a nice facility, we put out a good equipment selection, and we just made sure we ran it from the start like it was a higher end service.
Listen to a few of the podcasts you've done. One of the things that strikes me, and this isn't like, I don't mean this like detrimentally to anyone else, but you like kind of operate it as a business so that it can be a gym. Whereas I feel like a lot of people, they just want it to be a gym, not a business, because it's about the fitness, it's about the passion. And it is those things, but unless you treat it like a business, you'll not be able to do those things you're passionate about. And have you always kind of had that sort of business acumen to be able to do that? Because the way you speak is like a stark contrast to how a lot of people speak that are in your position.
I think I was just lucky with the way my childhood. Every dinner, every time we sat down at the dinner table to eat was a business meeting, because my mum and dad had their own business and they were in timber harvesting. Not many people know what it is, but that's why we had to live out in the middle of nowhere, because Kielder Forest is the biggest man-made forest in Europe. So essentially it's like these machines that cut down trees and put them on their back and roll through the forests, like they did that.
That's pretty niche.
Yeah, so it's like, but every dinner time, every evening was what's happening in business. What are we doing with staff? What are we doing with So from the get-go, we talked a lot about that sort of stuff. And like my girlfriend and my brother's wife, I think, are always a little bit taken aback that when our family kind of get together, it's down to the nuts and bolts and figures from the start. And they're like, why aren't we just talking about like nice stuff?
Big Brother, or
like,
only way is Essex.
Why are we getting into like margins and like overheads and stuff? But it's
when I ask you how work were, I just wanted you to say it's all right, cheers.
Yeah.
I didn't want your forecast for the next 6 months.
But they love it. Like they love, like they're long retired now, but I definitely owe that side of stuff to being brought up like that. And I think for someone who hasn't been brought up like that, I think you're on the back foot, because it's not something that comes natural. And I think if you've never had that, it's always this like really, really unknown world of employment, which is like safe, consistent, maybe like a set out progression. On the other side of that, it's, how do I employ someone? What do I do for a work contract? What do I do when it comes to like signing a lease? But ultimately, it's just like everything. You just have to take advice, research it, make your best decision.
What I liked about coming here as well, which made me laugh, like I didn't book on, I forgot, and then Gareth was like, we need to book on, and I love that. Like we're coming and doing this, but we're not special. Your members are special. They pay the bills. They're the ones that are important. They're the ones that should get the value. So we book on just like everyone else, and they weren't space, so we waited until there was space and get on that class.
Yeah.
And I like that, because wrongly or rightly, I don't mind. I love that. But if you go to some gyms, they'd be like, they'd just squeeze you in, and then a member will be like, I couldn't get on that class, and them fuckers are there. And it's like, it's that culture that you talk about. Yeah. If you're not like strong with that, it can be detrimental quite easily, can't it?
Absolutely. Like one rule for one rule for everyone, and if you break that, there's a level of dishonesty and distrust that kind of creeps in. We only have one person per platform, like at the back, because it becomes very quickly a bit of a mess if you've got like 2 people and then there's 2 bars and then there's 2 rowers and then that space that's really good for 4. And we've had it a couple of times. It's like, oh, can I work out with like someone on the? I'm like, until I can say everyone can do it, no one can do it.
Is that what it is then? It's like, don't do anything, because as soon as something creeps a little, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I think you've got to set out your stall and your terms and conditions and why you do it. So like, have a good think about the way that you're going to run your facility and why you do it that way, and then just hold the line. Hold the line really, really hard. And it's like, sometimes it might seem a little bit pedantic, sometimes it might seem like it's not really fitting that situation, but the moment you start to let that creep in, problems start to come down the line. So, and I think members, like in the short term, if they don't potentially agree with it, or it's not going to suit their current situation, I think they'll respect the fact that you're holding the standard, and they know they're getting a fair situation to everyone else. Now I think it's just small tweaks to try and improve the service for the members as much as we possibly can. We put a big focus onto the staff to try and professionalize coaching. If we can do that, then we can start to create long-term career paths for people rather than just jobs.
You know, on that, can you, like, 'cause I heard you talk about it with Pedro, can you give a bit of context to that? Because anyone that's got a gym that might be watching this, that's really, I found that like fascinating and really useful.
So the guy downstairs, so the guy who took our class, is funny because he's come back to do some part-time coaching, but there were a couple of members of staff that we brought on and who were super valuable members of staff, but we lost them to emergency services like police, fire, or ambulance or whatever, or like medics, or we lost them to the military, or we lost them to like these other quite like physical, non-office based jobs. And it was almost like people would move through doing coaching until they found that they'd like aged out of it, or they couldn't do it anymore because they wanted more money, or they wanted more stability or something like that. And from my point of view, I'm like, you're gonna leave. Like, they know the numbers, like they know how rapidly the gym's growing. I said to them for so many years, there is no limit to the opportunity that you can have here. If you want to come in with an idea and be like, we call it like intrapreneurial, which is a bit limp, but like, you know, like if they want to be in here and they want to like carve out a service or a product that will add to the top line for us, I'm like, go for it.
Do it,
If you make me £100,000, I'm going to at least pay you 50. Do you know what I mean? If you want to add that, like, we'll work it out somehow. There's no bounds to the amount of money you want to make. Like, tell me the same in employment in public service.
It's not happening.
Work yourself to the bone. Like, you probably aren't going to be recognised. Like, I'd rather be the big cog in the small machine than the little cog in the gigantic machine. But the problem wasn't that there wasn't the opportunity. The problem was that I wasn't conveying that and giving people enough clarity on what was available. So I was like, after the second time someone had left, a girl on the desk had left and joined the military, I was like, come on, we can't keep having this. So I looked at the fire service and what their progression is, and like, you go in at like, whatever it is, 24, 25k a year, you do all your training for like a couple of years, and then you get boosted up to whatever it is at mid-30s, and then on from there, as you take on roles and responsibilities, great. Then you get more financial compensation, but you also have to take on more responsibility. So I was like, well, if we are going to keep people and stop them going to those professions, then we need to at least pay this. And I, from my side, I'm like, you know, the fire service and the police and the medics do an unbelievable job. But if we're looking at the stresses and strains of working in that compared to the stresses and strains of working here, I would say this is a few rungs down the ladder compared to that. So if we can at least match their financial benefit, but maybe take away some of the downsides of working in public service, then we might be able to retain them for a little bit longer. I don't think we'll ever match their pensions, but you know, maybe they can figure that out.
Well, the way things are going, mate, they'll not be drawing them anytime anyway.
They draw them at 90 years old. So I set out, like, the stage is quite similar to the fire service. So it was like, we would do an internship. It would be a way of seeing people's commitment. So they would have to do 250 hours of unpaid shadowing and coach development. So that was the initial stage that we built out, and I'll kind of come back round to the internship because that's grown a lot as well. So 250 hours. After you've done your 250 hours and you've passed that period of time, and you've passed a test, like essentially just like taking a class, and me and Mark, who's our head coach and co-owner, have seen it, and we've graded them, so they've passed all those bits. Then they'll be moved into like a level 1 coach or a development coach. They'll get a certain wage. Then after 750 total hours, they'll move into a level 2, which will be like whatever the next stage is called, advanced coach. Then from there on, they do 1,500 hours, move to the next one, and we'll, all through these stages, once they've made it past the internship, we will fund their next CrossFit course.
Okay.
And then once they've passed the CrossFit course and they've ticked all the other criteria, they will move to the next pay grade, and the next pay grade, and the next pay grade.
So it's laid out, clear as day.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do to get here. So, and that's all anyone ever wants, isn't it?
Yeah,
They want a path. They want it to be structured. They want it to be consistent, and they want it to be fair. And if they get that,
so there's no real conversations of, oh, like I need more money because this is the way that you're going to get it.
Yeah.
And there's no people who are maybe apprehensive about having that conversation because they think, like, you know, it's ungrateful or whatever. And then they just exit. We don't have that anymore really either, because like if they want to exit and they want to do something different like that, you know, that's totally their choice, but at least there's a path laid out. And the final one, like after they get past the elite coach, is they can apply for shareholder status. So they have to do 6,000 hours, which is roughly like six years worth of work.
pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a partner in a law firm, you're probably looking at like a little bit more than that. You're looking at probably about 10 years before you can potentially get partner status, and they will be offered shares at a discounted rate, and then they can almost like a debenture, and they can then draw a dividend. They can draw a dividend.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and they can get a wage that's like suitable for their director status. They will draw a dividend at the end of the year depending on company performance. And if they ever wanted to exit, they'd also sell their shares at the increased value that the company's doing better.
So that's amazing. That's like,
but I think it's what it needs.
Yeah.
I think it's what it needs, because if you look at like any other sort of profession, maybe not the shareholder status, like solicitors, accountants, they can kind of go down that route. But we need good career coaches. If we keep going through the process of charging too little, not being able to afford good coaches, have a bad product, so we can't raise the price, so we can't charge anymore, so we get bad coaches, so we can't charge, and the show goes on and on and on, and it never gets better.
But people get so stuck in that they can't see the way out, because sometimes when you are so stuck in that, the way out is such a drastic change, it seems impossible, doesn't it? Over there. Right, well, it's been amazing being here, mate, and thank you for being the first in the Defiant affiliate series. You set a pretty high bar, so well, luckily I'm going to Project next, and I know he shares similar opinions with you. But
well, thank you very much.
Good. Cheers, mate.
You know, first stop on the affiliate series tour done. It's been amazing. We've got like some amazing content, talked to a lot of people in the community. Unbelievable what they've created here at Method and plans for the future. We also got an impromptu podcast with Gareth, Elliot and Jamie, where we just talked about the future of CrossFit and what we think is going to happen. So we weren't even expecting that, and that was good. Now just need to get home. 2.5 hour drive, but buzzing. Like, it's going to be a good drive home, just happy how everything's gone. We'll see you at the next one.